Think pennies are worthless? Think again. These tiny coins could make you filthy rich. We're revealing the top 3 ultra-rare 1 cents that have sold for hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars. Grab your change, you might be holding a literal fortune. Watch until the end. The backstory, 1964 VDB Lincoln Cent history. To understand why the 1964 VDB penny is so fascinating, we have to go back to the early 1960s, an era of great transition for U.S. coinage. The Lincoln Cent, first introduced in 1909 to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, had been minted in bronze for decades. But by the 1960s, the U.S. Mint was facing a coin shortage, especially in lower denominations like the penny and nickel. The demand for coins was skyrocketing due to a booming economy, growing population, and increased use of vending machines. In response, the Denver Mint, along with Philadelphia and San Francisco, ramped up production to record levels in 1964. That year, over 3.8 billion pennies were struck, more than 3.7 billion from Denver alone, marked with a small D under the date. With such a massive mintage, you'd think 1964 VDB pennies would be practically worthless, right? Not so fast. Why is the 1964 VDB penny rare? While most 1964 VDB cents are common, what makes this coin legendary among collectors is the existence of ultra-rare mint errors, special varieties, and uncirculated high-grade examples. These hidden gems, buried among billions of normal pennies, are the ones worth watching for. Here are the rarest and most valuable types of 1964 VDB Lincoln Cents. 1. 1964 VDB Doubled Die Obverse, DDO. One of the most sought-after error types in coin collecting is the double die, where the coin's design appears doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. If you look closely at Lincoln's profile, the date, or the word Liberty, and see clear doubling, you could be holding a double die obverse. These errors are rare for 1964 VDB pennies, but confirmed examples can fetch thousands to tens of thousands of dollars, especially in mint state condition. 2. Full red gem BU examples, MS, 65+. Most 1964 VDB pennies have dulled or oxidized over time. But a small number of coins have survived in pristine, bright red uncirculated, BU, condition. These full red coins, especially graded MS, 65 or higher by PCGS or NGC, can command $5,000 to $15,000 or more, because of their rarity and eye appeal. 3. Off-center strikes and broad strikes. Mint errors like off-center strikes, broad strikes, or wrong planchet errors, pennies struck on dime blanks, for instance, from 1964 VDB can be worth hundreds to thousands of dollars, depending on the severity and condition. 4. Transitional or experimental planchets. Rumors and unverified reports suggest that a small number of 1964 VDB pennies may have been struck on leftover or experimental planchets. These coins could potentially be worth $50,000 to $100,000 or more, if authenticated. 5. Repunched mint marks, RPMs. Repunched mint marks, where the D appears doubled or slightly offset, are another collector favorite. Rare RPM varieties have sold for several hundred to several thousand dollars, depending on clarity and grade. Real auction sales and valuations. Let's take a look at what these rare 1964 VDB pennies are actually selling for. A 1964 VDB Lincoln Cent in MS 67 red sold for over $7,000 at a major auction. A rare double die or RPM with strong eye appeal brought more than $10,000 in private sales. An off-metal strike, a penny struck on a silver dime blank, once sold for $85,000 due to its extreme rarity. These aren't hypothetical numbers. They're real, verified auction prices. And it proves that a coin you might find in a pocket, a piggy bank, or an old jar could be worth a staggering amount of money. How to identify a valuable 1964 VDB penny? Now here's the most important part. How can you tell if your 1964 VDB penny is worth a fortune? 1. Inspect the mint mark. Use a magnifying glass to closely examine the D under the date. Look for signs of doubling, repunching, or other irregularities. 2. Look for doubling. Check Lincoln's face, eyes, In God We Trust, Liberty, and the date for signs of doubling. Compare with online images of confirmed DDOs. 3. Check the color. A full red coin, bright, coppery, and shiny, is worth significantly more than brown or toned ones. Grading matters. 4. Condition is key. Coins in mint state, MS 60 and above, are much more valuable. If you think yours is high grade, get it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC. 5. Look for weird strikes or planchets. If your coin looks off, too thin, wrong color, off-center, it could be an error worth thousands. Closing, why you should check every 1964 D penny you find. So what does all this mean? The 1964 D Lincoln penny might look like just another copper coin. But beneath its humble surface lies the potential for greatness, a potential to turn a casual find into a 5-figure payday, or even more. Collectors and investors are always on the hunt for the next great discovery. And history has shown that the rarest, most valuable coins often start out looking completely ordinary. So the next time you get change at the store, or dig through an old coin jar, pay attention. That 1964 D penny might just be your golden ticket. Because in the world of rare coins, even a single cent can change your life. Outro, call to action. If you found this video helpful or exciting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing coin stories. Let me know in the comments if you've ever found a rare penny, or if you're going to check your change a little closer from now on. Section 1. Background and minting history. Let's go back to the late 1960s, an era of political turmoil, moon landings, Woodstock, and pennies. Yes, while the world was changing rapidly, the U.S. Mint was still doing what it had been doing for decades, producing the humble Lincoln Cent. In 1969, 3 U.S. mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, struck more than 5.3 billion Lincoln cents to keep up with everyday commerce. Out of those, over 4 billion were minted in Denver, marked with the small d below the date. On the surface, 1969 D pennies appear very common, one of the highest mintage years in Lincoln Cent history. They were made from the standard bronze alloy, 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc, and most are worth no more than face value. But here's where it gets exciting. Section 2, The Mystery of the 1969 Doubled Die. And how the D mint ties in. In 1969, a dramatic double die variety was discovered. On a coin minted in San Francisco, known as the 1969 Doubled Die Obverse, DDO. The doubling is so extreme and clear that the words "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the date appear twice. Collectors went wild. These coins quickly became some of the most valuable modern coins ever discovered. But then, rumors started to swirl about possible 1969 D double die varieties, and wrong mint mark errors, coins that were struck with a D mint mark but possibly used the same dies or planchets intended for San Francisco. This raised a chilling possibility: could there be a 1969 D DDO worth just as much, if not more, than the 1969 S? And although the most famous double die is the 1969 S, several minor but incredibly valuable 1969 D varieties do exist, and collectors are constantly hunting for them. Section 3. Rare varieties and error types worth thousands. So, what makes a 1969 D penny valuable? Here are the top varieties and errors to watch for. 1. 1969 D Doubled Die Obverse, DDO. Rare minor varieties. While not as bold as the San Francisco version, some subtle 1969 D DDOs do exist, and if identified and certified, they can bring in $1,000 to $5,000 plus depending on condition and strength of doubling. Look for doubling on Liberty. Doubling on the date, 1969. Doubling on In God We Trust. 2. Off-metal errors, planchet errors. There are extremely rare cases of 1969 D Lincoln cents being struck on dime planchets, silver, or foreign planchets. These are incredibly valuable. One 1969 D cent struck on a dime planchet sold for over $15,000 at auction. 3. Off-center strikes / broad strikes. Coins that were misaligned during striking, like 30 to 70% off-center, or broad struck without a collar, can easily be worth $500 to $2,000 plus, depending on how dramatic the error is. 4. Repunched mint marks, RPMs. Some 1969 D pennies have visible D over D repunched mint marks. These errors are highly collectible and can go for $100 to $500 plus in uncirculated condition. 5. High-grade examples, MS 66 plus full red. Even without errors, a perfectly preserved 1969 D cent in MS 66 or higher with a full red luster can fetch $2,000 to $6,000 or more, especially with PCGS or NGC certification. One sold for over $12,000 simply due to its pristine condition. Section 4. Legendary Sales and Auction Highlights. Let's talk real money. Here are some shocking sales of 1969 D Lincoln Cents. A 1969 D cent graded MS 66 plus RD by PCGS sold for $15,275. A 1969 D off-metal error penny sold for $22,000, struck on a dime planchet. Rare high-grade, full red RPMs regularly reach $1,000 to $3,000 on eBay and heritage auctions. And just imagine, what if a full Doubled Die Obverse with a D mint mark is still out there, undiscovered? That coin could easily break $250,000, maybe even $500,000, given the value of the 1969 SDDO, which has sold for as high as $126,500. Section 5. How to identify a valuable 1969 D penny. Here's what to do if you've got a 1969 D Lincoln Cent. Step 1. Examine with a loupe, 10x magnification or more. Look closely at the inscriptions, Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date, for signs of doubling. Step 2. Inspect the mint mark. Look for signs of repunching or unusual placement. Step 3. Weigh the coin. A regular copper cent should weigh about 3.11 grams. If it's significantly lighter, like 2.5 g, it might be a planchet error. Step 4. Check the strike. Misaligned or off-center strikes are visually obvious. They're valuable and easy to identify. Step 5. Color and grade. Full red coins with no marks or wear are worth far more. If it's uncirculated, consider sending it to PCGS or NGC. Closing, the takeaway. So what's the big takeaway here? Don't judge a penny by its cover. That ordinary 1969 D cent might be 1 in a billion, a rare error or variety that could pay off your car, your student loans, or your mortgage. Part 1, 045 to 3 o'clock background and history. The 1988 D Lincoln Cent might appear like any other copper-plated zinc penny. It features the familiar bust of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, with the Denver Mint mark, D, beneath the year. On the reverse, you'll see the iconic Lincoln Memorial, a design that ran from 1959 to 2008. But what makes some of these coins incredibly valuable isn't what's immediately visible, it's a subtle mistake, a variety, that has collectors scouring every 1988 D penny they come across. To understand why this coin is special, we need to take a quick trip back in time. In the 1980s, the U.S. Mint was transitioning between different design elements and engraving styles. In particular, the FG initials, which stand for Frank Gasparo, the designer of the reverse, became a key detail in identifying certain rare varieties. Now here's the twist. In 1988, the Mint accidentally used a proof reverse die, intended for high-quality collector coins, on regular business strike pennies at the Denver Mint. This created what is now known as the 1988 DRDV 006, or more commonly, the 1988 D wide AM reverse variety. Part 2, 3 to 6 o'clock. What makes it rare, RDV 006 explained. What's the big deal about a wide AM? Here's what to look for. On most 1988 D pennies, the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse are very close together, almost touching. But on the rare RDV 006 variety, the A and M are clearly spaced apart, a wide AM. This reverse die wasn't supposed to be used on normal circulation coins, but due to a mint error, it slipped into production. That alone makes this variety incredibly valuable. But it gets better. The 1988 D wide AM is far rarer than even its Philadelphia counterpart, the 1988 wide AM without the D. While thousands of people have found 1998 to 2000 wide AMs, the 1988 D is in a league of its own. Only a handful have been confirmed. Collectors go wild for these coins because of their rarity, minting error, and the mystery surrounding how many might still be out there. Only a few examples have surfaced in top grades, and when they do, bidding wars break out. Part 3, 6 to 8 o'clock market value and recent sales. Let's talk money. A regular 1988 D penny in your change is worth just 1 cent. But if you happen to find the 1988 D wide AM RDV 006 variety, even in average circulated condition, you could be looking at $1,000 to $5,000 instantly. Now get this, high-grade uncirculated examples, we're talking mint state 65 and above, have sold for $25,000, $50,000, and in one case, even rumored to fetch close to $100,000 at auction depending on demand and condition. Here are some recent confirmed sales. MS65 RDV 006 example sold for $25,850. Another lower graded yet verified 1988 D wide AM fetched over $3,000. Rumors among dealers suggest private sales may have exceeded $75,000 for top-tier examples, and because so few have been found, every newly discovered coin causes a stir in the numismatic world. If you're lucky enough to find one in pristine condition, untouched, uncirculated, and well-preserved, you're potentially looking at a six-figure payday. Part 4, 8 to 9:30 How to identify and tips to check yours. Now, here's how to tell if you have a 1988 D penny worth thousands. Look at the date and mint mark, it must be 1988 with a D, Denver. Flip to the reverse and closely inspect the word America. If the A and M are spaced apart, you may have the wide AM variety. Use a 10x magnifying glass or coin loop for better detail. Compare it to known wide AM examples online or use a trusted coin book. Don't clean the coin. If you suspect you have one, protect it in a soft flip, and consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication. Outro, 9:30 to 10 o'clock call to action and final hype. So, are you going to check your change now? The 1988 D Lincoln Cent RDV 006 is one of the rarest modern coin varieties out there, and it could be hiding in your house right now. Imagine finding a single penny that turns into a $50,000 windfall, or more. That's not just pocket change, that's life-changing money. Don't wait. Go check your change, and if you find anything close, drop a comment, share this video, and let the hunt begin. You just might be the next person to discover a fortune in a single, simple coin.